We know that the family of Officer Sicknick is meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
I put a statement out this morning.
So would you be willing to break the filibuster in order to get this passed? The family
I'm
is
not ready to
pleading.
destroy our government. I'm not ready to destroy our government. No, I think that they will come together. You have to have faith. There's 10 good people.
How frustrating is it for you to see Republicans line up in opposition to this?
It's frustrating to say this, I will tell you. There was a lot of negotiations, and the leadership of the Democrats on both the House and the Senate have agreed to the recommendations that were made to make the adjustments. There's no excuse for a Republican not to vote for this unless they don't want to hear the truth.
What's your message to Republican senators who are still opposing it, even after meeting with the family today?
Let the truth will set you free. Exactly what I've said. The truth will set you free. If not, then you must be concerned that you have still the fear. I don't know why anyone would want to know what went on for the first time in the history of our country, an insurrection that's never ever happened before, and now being afraid to find out what really happened and how we prevent it from ever happening again. We're so divided we have to come together.
Some people are looking at this other infrastructure plan you're working on as an indicator that there wouldn't be 50 votes.
No, I want you to make it very clear. I'm not working on anything except the conversations with all these groups are talking. And everyone's trying to find, I think what they have done, the proposal they put out today was very, very good. It was very, I think, it was a wonderful step in the right direction. I applaud Senator Capito and the team that's all been working together. So she's getting input from everybody.
Is there reason to think that there wouldn't be 50 votes if it had to go reconciliation?
There wouldn't be 50.
That there's some GOP senators suspecting that you or maybe Sinema would be a holdout on reconciliation like it was during COVID.
I don't want to talk about it. I mean, the main thing is the process has been working here now. We've been trying, and it's working hard. And I appreciate and respect that. For the first time in 10 years, I'm seeing a process that I've never seen before.
Is this the regular order?
Going to committees, working it through a markup, then going to the floor with an open amendment process. Look at the bill that we're working on today.
But does this satisfy your requirement for a regular order if it doesn't work out?
Well, we're going through that direction. So
you would be open to reconciliation if this doesn't work out?
You know, that's what you would be open for, because that's what you're saying. I'm not. Okay, so don't put words in my mouth. The bottom line is, we want regular order to work, and it will work, and we've proven it can work. So everyone's just basically naysaying it's never going to work. It is going to work, and people will, as long as they have process. And the process we're going, and with the group of Republicans that have been working in a very honorable way and very sincere way, is something that we all should take seriously.
Tell you what, Joe Manchin made some pretty strong arguments. Maybe he should present those arguments to the one person who could actually do something about it, which happens to be Joe Manchin. Here, the Democratic senator from West Virginia talks to reporters in the aftermath of some very, very predictable news that Republicans are lining up to oppose the commission to investigate the events of January 6th. Because who would have guessed that the party that instigated the insurrection also wouldn't want that insurrection investigated? Weird, huh? Now, first off, Manchin says, "I'm not ready to destroy our government," a reference to eliminating or reforming the filibuster, which is ironic in that the filibuster is the only thing standing in the way of investigating an attempt to literally destroy our government. The only reason that a January 6th commission isn't happening right now is because Republicans know that all they have to do is block it, knowing that Joe Manchin won't move forward on anything unless it's bipartisan. In other words, Republicans know that the entire Democratic agenda can be blocked in the name of bipartisanship so long as their whole conference actually avoids bipartisanship, meaning that Manchin isn't facilitating bipartisanship, he's ensuring its failure. Manchin even admits that Democrats gave in to the demands set forth by Republicans, and yet still they won't acquiesce. What does that tell you? That they're not negotiating in good faith. The Democrats literally gave them what they asked for with this commission. Equal number of Republicans and Democrats, approval from both parties when issuing subpoenas. They never had any intention of letting this commission pass. And by the way, that has been their strategy for years. They did this with the ACA and the Recovery Act during Obama's tenure. They did it with the American Rescue Plan just weeks ago. And now they're doing it again. At some point, Democrats have to stop letting Lucy pull the football away. Democrats have to recognize that by playing into Republicans' hands every single time, They're offering themselves up as an easy target for a Republican Party seeking only to stall until midterms. And then midterms comes around and guess what Republicans will run on? The fact that Democrats couldn't pass anything. And honestly, if we get stuck in this vicious cycle, it won't be the Republicans' fault, it'll be the Democrats, considering we have the tools to fix this. Manchin then says there's no excuse for Republicans not to vote for this unless they don't want to hear the truth. I mean, yeah, literally, that is to a T what is happening. The Republican Party was responsible for inciting the events of January 6th by propping up the big lie and refusing to certify the election results. Of course they don't want to investigate it. I'd argue that's a tacit admission of wrongdoing, meaning that by helping them prevent this commission from moving forward by protecting the filibuster, Manchin is guilty of doing exactly what he's condemning the Republicans for, which is blocking the truth from coming out. The fact is that for Republicans, the obstruction is the point. Every day they can waste with false promises of deals that never materialize is another day closer to the next election cycle. One of the factors for people who voted for Obama and then Trump was that they wanted to see a president actually accomplish something, even though the reason that nothing was accomplished was because the other party didn't let Obama pass anything after 2010. All they're doing is rehashing that same strategy and hoping that no one notices. We need to be able to differentiate between bipartisanship and the appearance of bipartisanship where nothing actually changes. Because what's happening now, where Republicans leverage the filibuster to block nearly every consequential piece of legislation that Democrats have a mandate to enact, is not bipartisanship. It's the polar opposite. It is pure and simple obstruction. The legislation that Democrats have introduced, from the Justice and Policing Act to the For the People Act to raising the minimum wage to the Voting Rights Act, all enjoys widespread bipartisan support across the entire country. The only place it doesn't have support is in one zip code, Washington, D.C. The broken Congress that Joe Manchin is warning might come is already here. It's actually his refusal to budge on the filibuster that's the only thing stopping it from getting fixed. The truth is that eliminating the filibuster is necessary to save democracy. Without changes to the filibuster and H.R. 1 subsequently not getting passed, Republicans will continue to pass voter suppression laws across the country. They'll continue gerrymandering Democrats out of the House. They'll continue preventing those who would vote for Democrats from voting at all. This is an existential issue right now. Forget preserving the filibuster as a way to save our democratic institutions. The filibuster is quite literally standing in the way of stopping the attacks on our democracy that are already happening. These bills have already passed in Florida, in Georgia, in Montana, and Iowa, and Arkansas. So at this point, there's no stopping it. The damage is done. The time for compromise is over. You can either nuke the filibuster and pass H.R. 1 and prevent these attacks against democracy from taking hold, or you can protect the filibuster and allow these attacks against democracy to take hold. But those are the only two options. Any action that isn't helping is hurting. And Joe Manchin, along with any other Democratic holdouts, need to be well aware of that. To see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And for a deeper dive, check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I discuss the week's top stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Vice President Kamala Harris, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, Katie Porter, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.